My main subject for this presentation will be about information security and how that interacts with management. The first paper that I will talk about is called The History of Data Breaches by Digital Guardian. I choose this business paper since I think statistics are a useful and a good way for displaying relevance of a subject. The statistics that will be shown will hopefully give you some kind of feeling on why and how information security interact with strategic management and IS. However, keep in mind that these numbers are mostly from American incidents. So, how much data is out there? There's a vast amount of data that is stored on different services and even on your own devices. I want to show you this picture because I think it's important to understand how much data that is stored and will be stored in the future. So, why does this matter? It matters because some companies buy data store from third-party companies that might store your saved data in a different country, which have other regulations than your own home country. This data needs to be managed not only by software but also by humans and how we interact with it. A data center can contain pretty much any information at all. Sometimes the data centers store confidential data that owners do not want to expose, because then they could lose credibility and customers. That is one of the reasons why information security is important and should not only be built up by software and hardware, but also with information security management. My second paper that I'm going to review is called Identifying Factors of Organizational Information Security Management. When you're thinking of protecting your data, you usually think of software and hardware, which purpose is to keep unauthorized people away from your private data. Today's companies that have business data that they do not want to share with the rest of the world probably have some kind of security in shape of software or hardware. For example, firewalls and antiviruses, to name a few. However, there's a range of different other factors that are required to keep the business and security objectives in alignment. And it's important that they interact with each other. Because if you do not work towards the same business objective from all the perspectives within a business, then you allow space for misconception within the business. The author of this article writes about how different and sometimes external factors interfere or support your business objective. They have done both a qualitative and a quantitative analysis to identify key organizational factors that are well known within the study of information system management. Why I choose this article and why I think it's important to strategic management and information system. I want to discuss information system management and show that keeping an information system safe not only requires software and hardware, but also information security management. I believe that more research should be done in this area because it affects the daily work of both top management and other employees within an organization. So, what is information security management? Information security management focuses more on how people interact with the daily information system from a security perspective, and perspectives that are possible are security policy, organization security, assets classification and control, personnel security, physical and environmental security, communication and operation management, access and control, system development and maintenance, business continuity management. These are factors that are important to a business, yet they are not only technical factors. They are a combination of technical management and human aspects. These factors are important for the management to consider when they are developing a security policy. If there is no security policy plan, then the risk for data breaches increases, which means that you're taking away the focus from your business goal. If you are losing focus on your business goal, then you are not following your strategic plan that you have set up, and this will cost you money and time. This is why it's important to have a clear security policy within an organization, since it will minimize the risk of losing focus. The author mentioned that lack of support that top management tend to give to the employees about information security tends to create an inconclusive policy, which will create confusion within your business. I have experience from this, since my parents and they work within healthcare, which means they have many different passwords for different kinds of records information systems. What the personnel does to remember password, they usually write it down on a piece of paper and keep it in the pocket. This, of course, is against the rules. However, my parents' boss also puts her password on a piece of paper, and this, of course, sends a very unclear message to the personnel that work within her department. Since everyone is doing it and nobody gets punished for it, it then means it probably is a management issue. This could be fixed if there was a better understanding of information security management, and education for employees would probably be needed. My third paper that I'm going to review is called Data Breach Investigation Report. This report is by Verizon and brings up that one of the most common attacks against business are through two techniques, which are phishing and point of sale. These are social attacks and somewhat easy to perform compared to other techniques. These attacks are used to make someone within an organization to spill information about themselves. And with that information, the attackers can perform more advanced attacks, or they could sell the information to other criminals. Also, according to this report, these attacks seem to be increasing every year. Cyber espionage is the second biggest motive after financial gain when it comes to why data breaches occur. One way that cybercriminals like to gain foothold on a business is to exploit plugins in a web browser. By doing so, they can probably access your computer and then access the information system infrastructure itself, depending on your business security measures. So, how can you as a manager prevent this from happening? For example, you need to have a clear policy that plugins in your browser is not allowed. A clear message from you, the management, is probably sufficient enough to prevent this attack. That is why it's important to have a management that manage a business information system from a security perspective in alignment with other goals that your business have. Since these attacks are becoming more and more sophisticated, then it becomes even more important to have security policy to follow, because it will minimize the risk of a data breach. A security policy could contain, for example, how should employees react when they notice a suspicious activity. The employee also needs to understand why security is important, and this will minimize the risk for mistakes. My fourth paper is called Understanding Non-Malicious Security Violations in the Workplace, a composite behaviour model. It is very interesting how people interact and experience information system from a security perspective, since it's quite common to say that the end users are the weakest link. Since every business is different and people have different perceptions how they should tackle the business security policy. The authors also push on how important it is to link business and security objective, which I also mentioned in my previous article. What I think is the most important to bring with me from this article, and which links to my main subject, is how goal-oriented employees are. They will violate policies, rules to fulfill their goals. If the security measures are in the way for their goal, they will most likely ignore it. Of course, this depends on the security culture in that business. This article concludes the same thing as the previous scientific paper that I talked about. And that is how important it is with training and education when it comes to information security management. If there isn't a clear security policy and employees do not understand why there are security measures, then you will have a problem. Because they will most likely violate your policy. This is why education and training is the key to get rid of this problem.